Deep Dive podcast on divine narratives, a collection of inspiring biblical stories, episode 26, The Miracle of the Widow, a tale of faith and abundance.
That is quite a title, but it really it puts us right in the middle of one of the most powerful stories about faith and desperation you can find.
It really does. And before we get into the analysis, I really want to set the scene. I want you to just picture this. A heat that feels physical, like a weight.
Yeah.
The ground isn't just dry, it's cracked, it's dead. The sky is just brass for months. Maybe longer, no clouds, no relief, just sun.
It's a total ecological collapse. We're looking at 1 Kings chapter 17, and this isn't just, oh, we should probably conserve some water.
Right, this isn't a suburban water ban.
No, absolutely not. In an agrarian society, if it doesn't rain, the food supply vanishes. Society itself starts to break down. It's the end of the world as they know it.
And right in the middle of that, we zoom in on one person, a
Yeah.
woman, a widow, she has a son, and she is literally preparing what she believes is their last meal ever.
That's the crisis point.
Mm.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're not just looking at a story about, magic food.
No.
We need to dissect the psychology of scarcity, the logic of faith when things are desperate, and this surprisingly powerful idea of vulnerability.
Vulnerability, it's a word we hear all the time, but here it's not about a corporate trust fall. It's admitting you're at the absolute end of your rope.
Precisely. We're looking at three things.
Yeah.
The desperate encounter, the audacious command she receives, and then the tragedy that follows the first miracle.
Okay, so let's start with the characters. We have the prophet Elijah. He's been hiding out by a brook getting fed by ravens, which is a whole other story.
A whole other deep dive, yes.
But the brook dries up,
Yeah.
and God commands him to go to a town called Zarephath.
And Zarephath is a critical detail. It's not in Israel. It's in Sidon, which is basically enemy territory.
Enemy territory.
It's the heartland of Baal worship, the very religion Elijah is fighting against. So he's being sent into the lion's den to find help.
And the instruction is, I have commanded a widow there to feed you. Now, hold on. If I'm coming up with a survival plan in a famine, find a widow is probably last on my list.
It makes absolutely zero sense on paper. A widow in the ancient Near East was at the very bottom of the social ladder. No husband meant no legal standing, no property, no income.
So no safety net at all.
Nothing. They're always grouped with orphans as the people most likely to starve. Asking a widow to feed a grown man during a famine it's absurd.
So Elijah gets to the city gate, and there she is. She's gathering sticks.
Just a couple of sticks, the text implies. Enough for one tiny fire.
He calls out to her, and the first request seems, okay, I guess. Please bring me a little water.
And in that culture, even in a drought, hospitality was everything. You just didn't refuse a traveler water.
So she starts to go get it. She's willing to share what little she has, but then he pushes it. As she's walking away, he adds, oh, and bring me a morsel of bread, too.
And that's where everything should have just stopped. Water is one thing. That's labor. That's fuel. In a famine, bread is life.
I mean, honestly, if I'm her, I'm stressed, I'm starving, I'm about to watch my son die, and some stranger asks for my last sandwich. I'm not thinking hospitality. I'm thinking, get away from me.
But she doesn't. She stops. And instead of yelling, she explains. And listen to how she phrases it. She says, as the Lord your God lives.
Your God, not my God.
Right. She recognizes he's a man of Yahweh. And she swears an oath. She says, I have nothing baked.
And she's so specific. Only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug.
It's the forensic accounting of her poverty. She's not hiding a thing. And then she lays it all out. I am gathering a couple of sticks to go in and prepare it for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die.
That line, eat it and die. It's so matter of fact. It's not dramatic. It's just her reality.
That's the sound of complete resignation. She's done the math, and the numbers don't add up. It's just a cold, hard fact for her.
So this is that vulnerability piece. Why does it matter that she tells him all this?
Because the miracle needed the truth. If she had just said, oh, sorry, can't help you, the interaction is over. By admitting she's at absolute zero, she creates the space for something impossible to happen. You can't fill a cup that's pretending it's already full.
Okay, so she's laid her cards on the table. We're going to die. And Elijah's response is, wow. It's bold. He starts with do not fear.
Which is easy to say when you're not the one starving.
Right. But then comes the command. He says, go and do as you have said. Make the meal. But make me a small cake from it first.
There it is. The audacity.
It sounds so selfish. I know you're planning your last meal, but I'm the prophet, so I eat first. How is that not just taking advantage of her?
Through a modern lens, it looks terrible. It looks like a con artist. But we have to understand the theological framework. He isn't just asking for a snack. He's invoking the principle of first fruits.
Okay, break that down for us.
The first of any harvest, the best part, was supposed to be given to God as an act of trust. It's a way of saying you trust the source of the harvest more than the harvest itself. By asking her to feed him, God's representative first, he's asking her to act on that principle.
So it's a test of faith.
It's the ultimate test. He's asking her to invest her very last asset in a prophecy, because the command comes with a promise.
Right. He says, "The jar of flour shall not be empty, and the jug of oil shall not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain."
So the deal is, you give me the visible thing you have, and in return, you get an invisible promise of provision.
And for a mother to take food away from her starving child for a stranger based on a promise, that is a level of risk I can barely imagine.
But she does it. That's the pivot point of the whole story. She goes, she bakes the little cake, and she gives it to him.
And the first miracle happens. The text says they all ate for many days. The flour and oil just didn't run out.
Yes, but it's important how it didn't run out. The jar wasn't suddenly overflowing.
So she didn't wake up to a 50-pound bag of flour.
The Hebrew suggests it was a daily sufficiency. It just
Yeah.
never ran empty. It's not a warehouse miracle. It's a daily bread miracle.
That actually sounds kind of stressful.
Incredibly, we want a full pantry. We want security.
Right.
This miracle required her to wake up every single morning, look at a jar that probably still looked almost empty, and trust that there would be just enough for that day.
So she never got to feel safe, just sustained.
Exactly. It forced a continuous trust. If the jar had filled up on day one, she wouldn't have needed faith anymore. She'd have had inventory.
So they're in this rhythm. There's a famine outside, but in their house, there's daily bread. And just when you think things are stable,
The narrative pulls the rug out from under you.
the tragedy, the widow's son gets sick. And not just a little sick. The text says there was no breath left in him. He dies.
And this creates a huge crisis. I mean, think about it from her perspective. She did the right thing. She passed the test. And now the son she was trying to save is dead anyway.
It feels so cruel. And she unleashes on Elijah. She says, "What have you to do with me, O man of God? Have you come to bring my sin to remembrance and kill my son?"
That phrase, bring my sin to remembrance, is so telling. She assumes this is a punishment, that something she did in her past has now come due because this holy man is in her house.
She thinks she's being judged. And Elijah, he doesn't argue with her.
No, he doesn't give her a theological lecture. He just acts. He takes the boy from her arms and carries him upstairs.
And what he does in that room is so raw. It's not a polite prayer.
Not at all. He basically argues with God. He cries out, "Oh, Lord my God, have you brought calamity even upon this widow by killing her son?" He's accusing God of being unjust.
He stretches himself out on the child 3 times. It's physical. It's desperate.
It's a fight. He is fighting for this boy's life, and he begs God for the boy's soul to return.
And then the second miracle, the boy's revived. Elijah brings him back downstairs and just says, "See, your son lives."
And the widow's response is the key to the whole story. She says, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth."
Wait a minute. Now I know. She's been eating miracle bread for months. Didn't she already know?
But that's the crucial difference. The flour proved he had power. It was useful. It kept her alive.
Okay.
But the resurrection of her son proved the truth of who God is. It moved her relationship from being transactional, I feed you, you provide for me, to being one of real conviction. She's not just surviving anymore. Now she believes.
So the food sustained her body, but this miracle, the second one, that solidified her faith.
It claimed her heart. Exactly.
So let's bring this all together. One of the big takeaways for me is this idea of generosity, but generosity in scarcity.
Yes. It's completely counterintuitive. Our instinct is to say, I'll be generous when I have more, when I get a raise, when I have a surplus.
Right. I can't afford to give right now. I'm barely making it myself.
But this story suggests the opposite. It suggests that generosity is the very mechanism that unlocks provision. If she had hoarded that last handful of flour, she would have eaten it and died, just as she planned.
That's a chilling thought. Hoarding her last resource would have guaranteed the very outcome she was afraid of.
Fear makes us clench our fists. It makes us hold on tighter. But you can't receive anything with a closed fist. Faith asks us to open our hand.
So for you listening right now, you're probably not staring at your last handful of flour. So how does this apply?
Well, I think we all know that handful of flour feeling, don't we? It
Yeah.
might not be food. It might be your energy. your patience.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel like you have 1 ounce of patience left with your kids, or $10 to last until payday, or just a tiny shred of hope left for a situation.
That feeling of scraping the bottom of the jar.
Exactly. And this story poses a question to you. What are you going to do with that last little bit? Are you going to consume it yourself out of fear and despair? Or are you willing to use it for something greater than just your own survival? To act with generosity and trust, even when your resources feel completely depleted. Because the provision didn't come before she acted. The flower multiplied as she used it.
That is a powerful thought. The miracle happens in the act of giving, not before it.
That's the takeaway.
Wow. From a death sentence to a resurrection, a very heavy but ultimately hopeful story.
It is. It's a story that reminds us that what we have in our hand doesn't have to define our future.
I love that. Well, that's our deep dive on the widow of Zarephath. Thank you so much for breaking this down with me.
My pleasure. Always good to dig into these.
And for all of you listening, we'll leave you with this thought. What is the handful of flour in your own life, the small resource you're holding on to out of fear, and what might happen if you were willing to use it in faith? Something to think about. We'll see you on the next deep dive.